In a world where war is uncertain and tensions are high among the world's two greatest superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, communism is on the rise and the U.S. is trying desperately to contain it. As of today, we are faced with yet another issue called the Cuban Missile Crisis, which started October 14th and ended October 28th. The actual dispute lasted over 13 days, and as of this moment, the USSR has sent nuclear weapons into the incapable hands of Cuba. Cuba has now turned their direction and set their nuclear sights upon the United States. In response to this, the U.S. has taken their course of retaliation and aimed their own nuclear weapons upon Cuba.
Castro to Khrushchev, October 26, 1962.
Dear Comrade Khrushchev, given the analysis of the situation and the reports which have reached us, I consider an attack to be almost imminent. Within the next 24 to 72 hours, there are two possible variants. The first and most probable one is an air attack against certain objectives with the limited aim of destroying them. The second, and though less probable, still possible, is a full invasion. This would require a large force and is most repugnant form of aggression, which might restrain them.
Khrushchev to Castro, October 28, 1962.
Dear Comrade Fidel Castro, we would like to advise you, in spirit of friendship, to show patience, firmness, and more firmness. We, on our part, will do everything to stabilize the situation in Cuba, to defend Cuba from invasion, and to ensure you the possibilities for peaceful and construction of the social...
Castro to Khrushchev, October 26, 1962.
Dear Comrade Khrushchev, I wish to inform you that we are opposed, by principle, to inspections on our territory. I appreciate the enormous effort which you have made to maintain the peace, and we totally agree with the necessity to fight for this aim. If we achieve it in a just, solid, and permanent way, it will be an enormous service to humanity.
October 24th, 1962.
You, Mr. President, are not declaring a quarantine, but rather issuing an ultimatum. And you are threatening that if we do not obey your orders,
on October 22nd, the issue of the Cuban Missile Crisis was televised and broadcasted to the public by President Kennedy.
It would mean for us to conduct our relations with other countries not by reason, but by yielding to tyranny. You are not appealing to reason. You want to intimidate us.
Khrushchev to Kennedy, October 26, 1962.
Dear Mr. President,
the quarantine is in fact a naval blockade of Cuba by the United States, which was issued on October 23, 1962. The U.S. created a ring of ships to prevent Soviet forces from bringing more military supplies to Cuban troops.
This is understandable. However,
Khrushchev to Kennedy, October 28, 1962.
I express my satisfaction and thank you for the sense of proportion you have displayed and for the realization of the responsibility which now devolves on you for the preservation of the peace of the world. Mr. President, I should like to repeat what I had already written to you in my earlier messages, that the Soviet government has given economic assistance to the Republic of Cuba, as well as arms, because Cuba and the Cuban people were constantly under the continuous threat of an invasion.
Kennedy to Khrushchev, October 28, 1962.
Dear Mr. Chairman, both of our countries have great unfinished tasks, and I know that your people, as well as those of the United States, can ask for nothing better than to purpose them free from the fear of war. Modern science and technology have given us the possibility of making labor fruitful beyond anything, and that could have been dreamed of few decades.
The event that began the Cuban Missile Crisis in October of 1962 actually began in April of 1961 with the Bay of Pigs invasion. The Bay of Pigs invasion was the failed invasion of 1,500 United States CIA-funded rebels and B-26 bombers from the air on Cuba. Although it was known by Cuban officials that this was indeed an attack by the United States, Kennedy initially denied the claim.
This was a struggle of Cuban patriots against the Cuban dictator,
said Kennedy. Later, Kennedy admitted that it was in fact a U.S. invasion, and the Bay of Pigs invasion has since gone down in history as one of the United States' greatest CIA failures. Leaders of the United States and the Soviet Union have come to an agreement to disassemble weapons